Hey, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI BAHASHAM, QADASH, and double honors to the elders and apostles who rule well and teach well. Salutations to the 12 scattered abroad and the men out there laboring in truth and in sincerity. Shalom. In this video, I'm going to go into signs of the times and the day of the Lord. All right, and we're just going to jump right into it. This is Genesis 1:1. It says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, the HALALYAM created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so in this first verse, as you can see, it goes into time, which is beginning, like there was a set time. Space, you got the heaven, which is space, consider space, and then you got the earth, which is matter. Okay, you got time, space, and matter within the first verse of the scriptures. All right, and specifically this video, like I said, is going to be about signs of the times. All right, so we're going to really basically get into like what are the signs of the times. Okay, of course you've probably heard this throughout your life. People speak about, oh, it's the signs of the times. Which time though? There's a lot of things that happens in the meantime, between time. That's why I also say in the day of the Lord. So there's a sign of the times of prophecy being fulfilled. There's a sign of the time of the end as well. All right. And let's go to Isaiah 46, because these things have been spoken about. The ending has been declared from the beginning. All right, so we know in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, but also these things were set forth. Everything was set forth and on a course, a predetermined course, to come to pass. All right, all the way to the ending. All right, this is Isaiah 46:10. It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times to the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. All right, so he's created from the beginning. He's already set forth the end, okay, to come. And nothing's going to change it. He's going to do what he set forth. The Most High is going to do what he set forth his counsel to do. All right, so the Most High, of course, he even has, his counsel as well within the heavens, within within the means of how things will be delegated and regulated, right? We get all of this wisdom and knowledge and understanding from his counsel, okay? And he can do whatever he want to do, right? All right, so like I said, he declares the ending from the beginning. So these things are already set forth to come to pass. And he set up prophets, to prophesize these things to come, such as the judgments and kingdom rulership. Everything has a time period, and he sends prophets out to say before these things that happen, as a sign as well. All right, we're going to go into Jeremiah 28 verse 8. Just the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. All right, so these things were the signs of different times of different events happening, such as the downfall of countries, the judgment against great kingdoms and rulerships, the telling of wars to come, and evil and pestilence and famine. All of these things were set up, through the counsel of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. All right. And so, and speaking on, on things to come, right, that these prophets have been prophesying about, you see evil. Evil, it just means bad times. Okay. You got Eve, which is a time frame, and then you got ill, which is bad, like ill intent. Okay. Remember, the Lord said, I create the light and make the darkness. I send good times and bad times. I, the Lord, am the one who does these things. All right. I think that was in Isaiah 47, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So these things are just things that were prophesied before, all the way. I'm trying to show you all the way back from the beginning that things were prophesied about the end. And even Enoch, he's seen the end. All right. All the prophets pretty much have seen the end, to come. Everybody who received that spirit from the Lord, even Moses, okay? Moses, he's seen the end too. Solomon, all right? But speaking of Enoch, let's go to Jude, because even though this, you could tell this had to have been like something that was well known for Jude to even speak on this. It says, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam. Now Enoch, he was a prophet as well. Okay, it says Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. All right, so this is the prophecy of Yahawashi coming with, glory and his clouds and his and basically the Lord, the hosts, right? He's gonna be coming, and this was prophesied all the way back during the time of Adam. Okay, so Adam, of course, he was in the beginning. Okay, and Enoch, he was all the way in the beginning as well. So these things, it just goes to show you that, these things were prophesied from the beginning, and the end was declared from the beginning. All right, let's go back to Genesis 1 and go down to verse 14. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. All right, so as you can see, the Lord has set up lights in the heaven, right? The sun and the moon, to govern, the time, right? And to be for signs. So this is why it's, I named this video The Signs of the Times. All right, because the sun and the moon are actually not just up there for decoration, but they have their offices. They have the ordinances. They have been commanded and they stay obedient. All right, and also the stars as well. But as you can see, it says, let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. All right, seasons, days, and years are all dispensations of time. All right, you got summer, autumn, winter, spring. Those are the 4 seasons. And then you got the days, then you got the years, and you also got ages, okay, worlds. These are different time periods. All right, and then you also got times of the end, like may have heard the day of the Lord, of course, the year of my redeemed. There's other phrases used in the scriptures to basically prophesy about a certain period of time. Oh, you got the hour of temptation. Okay. Things talking about something, the light affliction is but for a moment. All right. I know our life is of like a vapor. Everything is dealing with a certain time period, a dispensation of time. And this is just the way the Lord set things up. All right. I'm going to read the rest of what I was going to read. It says, and God made two great lights. Hold on. It says, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. All right. So as you can see, the sun, it governs the day, and the moon governs the night. All right. So, 12 hours of the day and 12 hours of the night. And those, number 12 actually represents a government. Okay. That's why you got the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12,000 from each tribe making up the 144,000, which is the government of Israel. Okay. So these help govern the time. Everything in the sky and in the heavens, right, is not up there just for decoration or decor. They have their office, they have their purposes. All right. And one of them is to give signs. All right. Speaking of sign, all right. So you have the word sign. Okay. It says an object, quality, or event whose presence or occurrence indicates the probable presence or occurrence of something else. All right. It says a gesture. The second definition is a gesture or action used to convey information or instructions. All right. In which that is exactly what the lights in the firmament do. Right. They give you a signal. All right. It's a body language. Those are celestial bodies. So they have a body language, a universal language, really. All right. So let's look at these synonyms for sign. All right. It says a indication. All right. A signal, a symptom. Let's see. A mark, a token. All right. The Lord is all about tokens. It says a testimony, evidence, proof. All right. So the works of the works in heaven, like such as the lights, the sun and the moon, when they give off signs, they are testimonies. Okay. They are indications of things coming to pass. All right. There's a time and purpose for everything. There's a time and purpose for all his works. All right. There's other signs in the heavens too. You got eclipses, supernovas, planetary conjunctions. When the planets they align, these are all signs. All right. They all have their purpose. All right. A sign is a clue something happened or a display that communicates a message. Like a stop sign, it tells you to stop. Right. So every time something is going on in the heavens, it has an effect on what's going to happen on earth as well. All right. All right, let's go to Second Esdras. This is Second Esdras chapter 4 and verse 37. It says, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. All right, so he's declared these things from the beginning, and so it's already set up in play. A system is set up in play. You got the planetary system, right? Or some people say the solar system, and it's just a systematic way things are going to be fulfilled, right? He lets things be weighed up and measured, right? And once it's fulfilled, then that's when the next measure can fulfill as well. He don't mess with them. He don't touch it, right? He lets it run its course. He lets those things run its course because he set up these things from the beginning. All right, he weighed the age. He weighed this age. He's measured the years. He's numbered the days. Okay, nothing will be changed until time has run its predetermined course. All right, and when you see the lights in the heaven, they move in a certain way, and they align, and you got certain eclipses, which is mainly what we're going to be talking about in this video, as the main signs of the time, because it's been prophesied throughout the scripture, about the sun and the moon darkening, and blood moons, things of that nature. Okay, so we know that the sun and the moon and the stars, the heavenly hosts, right, were all ordained since the beginning to carry out their ordinances by dispensation of time. So the Lord, he made the declaration in the beginning with these lights in the firmament of the ending. He weighed everything in the balance. He set everything in order, including the time in the beginning, including the timing in the beginning. All right, so these times have been running on a predetermined course ordained by the Lord. All right, let's go to Job. All right, I hope y'all understanding it. I hope this is edifying. This is Job 38, verse 32. It says, Canst thou bring forth Mazaroth in his season, or can thou guide Arcturus with his sons? It says, knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? All right, so now, as you can see, all right, the Mazaroth and an Arcturus, right? These are constellations within us, within the heavens. All right, and they have their purposes and they have their times in which they are brought forth to basically perform their office, do what they're supposed to do, and bring forth whatever is supposed to be brought forth within that season that they're brought out. Whatever purpose they have, they fulfill that purpose. All right. That's why in the NLT it says, do you know the laws of the universe? All right, so they are bound by law. All right, these lights are obedient to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and they help regulate the earth. Okay, so yes, the sun, the moon, the stars, the things in heaven, they do have an effect on things on the earth. They do have some regulation on the earth, dominion. Okay, things play out a certain way, and it's based on what the Lord has set up since the foundation. All right, and we can confirm through the scriptures that there's a time for everything. All right, those lights in the firmament or the heavens, they help to determine the time and the season for all purposes under heaven. Like for example, you can only see certain planets within certain seasons, or you can only see certain constellations closer within a certain month. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes 3, just to show you, there's a time for everything. Now, this is going to be pretty much some of the meat of what I'm going into since it's dealing with the times. Okay, there's a time for everything. It says to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. All right. And we remember the precepts I had, Isaiah 46:10, talking about declaring the end from the beginning. All right, so there's a time for every purpose. And by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. So the Lord is heavy into time, all right? That's why he's the eternal, right, power. All right. But let's go down to verse 2. It says, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. All right, so we're born here, we die here, we're in these bodies that were made to turn back into the dust, right? And we're always likened unto agriculture. You know, the Lord is very big on agriculture and using it as when you see it being used in the scriptures, used figuratively as well to parallel and compare our lives as a plant or a tree, right? And actually in prophecy, in a parable, Yahawashai, he spoke about, the wicked being plucked up. Okay? Because we are all like basically trees, and we gotta bear fruit, and if we don't bear fruit, then what happens to a tree that doesn't bear fruit? It gets excuse me, it gets cut down. You know, it's unfruitful and it's useless, has no purpose. All right, but first, let me go to Job 14. It's Job 14:1. It says, man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. See, that's a time period. We're a few days and full of trouble. It says, he cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. All right, he fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. All right, so our life is just as a shadow. As far as us being here on earth, we don't have long to live. It's like a vapor, right? But the key element in this verse is talking about coming forth like a flower. We compare it to the agriculture, the vegetation, the plants, and on this earth, because we are likened to flowers and plants and trees, right? You know, that's why we even have certain things called like the family tree. All right, and then you got the olive tree, being grafted in. You got the wild olive tree, and then you got degenerates, right? Degenerate plant. How do we become a degenerate plant? Right? We became wild. It's all throughout the course of our life. You can compare it to everything in nature. All right, let's go to Matthew and let's bring out that Matthew, that parable that I was talking about. It's Matthew 13:36. Yeah. So this was talking about the parable of the sowers, the tares and the wheat and the tares, I believe. Yeah, it says because this is when Yahushua was explaining the parable. It says, then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house and said, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Okay, so I'm just showing you that we are compared to, the agriculture. We're compared to the nature. That's why, he spoke in his way, because comes in the image of Yahweh. All right, it says the field, verse 38, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. All right, so there's a time for everything. You got reapers, right? You got reapers, which are the angels, and they come to reap, you know, the harvest. That's why you got seasons in the through the spirit, right? You got the spring, which means, you know, things are, it indicates new life, the new beginnings, right? The New Year's is not, you know, contrary to what you learned in Western culture. The New Year's is not in the dead winter. Okay, y'all gotta use y'all common sense. There's nothing new about the dead winter. Nothing growing. All right, you gotta use your common sense, and by nature, we know these things. It's in you you should know these things. All right. But yeah, like in the autumn or in the fall, right? Usually that's when people are either sifted out, okay, through the spirit. I'm speaking, but it's a harvest. It's like to reap what you have sowed. All right. So through the spirit, you know, a lot of different types of judgment goes out based on the season. Okay. The summer, you know, you reap fruits as well, right? It's a lot of things that grow in the summer. It's a lot of things that go in the spring. So you got spring cleaning. You know, these are just different times, and that we naturally gravitate towards the energy behind it. There's an energy behind and the spirit behind all of these different time frames, seasons specifically, right? That's how you know it's a purpose for these things in heaven. All right, and then when we go back to Ecclesiastes 3, as you can see, there's a time for everything. All right, I'm not going to hit every single one. You can go read it yourself. All right, I'm gonna hit this last verse, verse 8. It says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. All right, and the reason why I brought that out is because right now it's the time to hate the world. All right, the world that we live in, it's time to hate, because remember, love of the world, especially in this period, is enmity with the Most High. All right, and then it says a time to hate, a time of war. All right, there's gonna be a time of war of the worlds. We're in the end of the world right now, and there's gonna be a time where you got the world to come versus the world that we're living in now. Okay, and the only way for the next world to come is for this world to be faded away, to be brought down. All right, to end. All right, and we're gonna go into what those eclipse means. All right, when you know, when the sun is eclipsed, it's an indicator for the end, all right, of a period of a rulership. All right, so then, like it says, a time of peace. All right, so after that war, after the war, and you know, of the kingdom of heaven against, you know, Satan, which is, you know, this Edomite supremacy, then you have peace. Peace. Like now the true, the righteous, the holy, the saints, right, get to finally rest and be in peace and not be oppressed. All right. So after this war, then it's peace. Okay. All right. So speaking of this time, right, this also includes, I think I've said it before, and when judgments happen too, because the purpose of the sun, moon, and stars were created for signs and timing, like a clock, a ring, or a circle. Even the Lord's judgment is likened unto a ring, right? You got life cycles too. Going down to verse 17, it says, I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, right? For there is a time for every there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. All right. Just like I remember I said, if you like, we're likened to, vegetation and trees and whatnot. And, we have these different seasons. People, they have their own seasons that they make up in their folly. You got hoodie season, you got cuffing season, and right. But these seasons that they make up come from whatever time period it is. Like usually they say cuffing season is in the fall or something like that. But people in their folly, they even have a certain period of time in which they have a purpose for. Okay. But as you can see, there's a time and there's a purpose. There's a time for every purpose and for every work. Okay. Right. So he can visit you, like this is during a certain time period. The Lord can visit you in the third or fourth generation, right? Pursuant to Exodus 20 and 4 and 5, somewhere around there, right? Once you have sold certain amount of works, right? There's eventually you're gonna have to reap that. You're gonna have to reap what you sowed, right? That's where the reapers come in at. All right. Everyone has an appointment or an appointed time, right? He can summon you, right? He can summon you via a reaper. All right. And he also requires that which is past. All right. So he is the ultimate debt collector, and he always gets things completed and done on time. All right. This is the Lord that we're talking about. All right. Because remember, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. When the said measure is fulfilled, then he exacts equity and judgment, okay? Because a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, all right? So everything happens on time always. He can never be late. All right, so an example of this is in Genesis 15:16, where it says, but in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. All right, so there's a dispensation of time, a measurement, you let things fulfill, and then that's when action is being taken. All right, so there's a time for everything, and he brings judgment every day, because he's a just power, and he weighs everything in a balance without fail. All right, so case in point, if we go to Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, it says, the Lord, the just Lord, is in the midst thereof, and he will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. All right, so day by day, he brings justice. Salaki. All right, so that his judgment is without slack. Okay. So when you think about the day of the Lord, all right, Judgment Day is at a certain appointed time. The lights in the firmament, right, are signs of the times, including the days leading up to great judgment on schedule. They act as signals. Okay, the Lord always gives signs before great judgment. He always sends prophets before he brings judgment. He's very big on signs and tokens and wonders. He shows his works. Not everybody pays attention, but yeah, he does. Right? If we go to let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 5, verse 42. It says, and he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring, like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first. All right, so it's a constant, it's a cycle, it's like a generator, a circuit, you know. All right, let's go back to Psalms 19. This is verse 1. It says, day unto day. This is verse 2. Matter of fact, I'll read 1. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. All right, so remember, there's a time and purpose for every work. All right, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. Now, when we go back to the first verse, you know, the firmament showeth his handiwork. All right, the firmament showing his handiwork is proving that the stars and their positions has purpose and perfect timing set up by the Lord. All right, like I said before, they're not just for feng shui, you know, for decor, home and decor. Now, I will say, you know, the Lord, the heavens, right? The earth is his footstool, and the heavens is pretty much his dwelling place. All right, so he has definitely furnished the heavens with all of these lights and with all of these you know, these works that some of them we cannot even explain. All right, but like I said, they're not just there for decoration, even though they look, you know, sometimes they look really amazing to look at and awesome and wonderful, right? But they're for the declaration of times and signs. All right. And I'm reading verse 2 again. It says, day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. All right, so the sun shows you knowledge of the daytime, the time of the day. All right, you got 12 hours with the sun and 12 hours with the moon. All right, both lights are celestial governing bodies performing their office. The sun gives plants photosynthesis, right? And they affect your moods. You know, sunny day can brighten up your day, make you feel good, put you in a happy mood, joyful mood. All right, and also it gives man's nutrients and energy. We get vitamin D from the sun. All right, we get a certain types of energy radiated from the sun, and we take it into our own body. And the moon shows you the knowledge of the beginning of the month, right? So when you have a new moon, that's the beginning of the month. It also lets you know the feasts, the season, and the days of the month. All right, so usually if the new moon is the beginning of the month, that means the full moon is pretty much the middle of the month, I'll say. All right, because the moon has phases and cycles, right? You got the new moon, and then it waxes to the full, and then it wanes back down until it goes back into the new month, which the new moon means month. All right, the moon also can have an effect on tides and your mood. All right, the stars can be used to navigate as well. You know, a lot of sailors and navigators, explorers, they used the stars to pretty much move around and navigate on the earth. You know, there's ways to do it, you know, based on the constellations. All right, and we know some creatures thrive more during the time of the night with a moon, you know, with the moon more than the day and the sun. All right, so there's a lot of different purposes that the moon and the sun they have, and they're signs of the times. You know, there's a time for nature to fulfill its purpose. All right. They let's go verse 3. It says, there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. All right. So speaking of speech and language where their voice is not heard, we're talking about the body language, the celestial body language of the sun and the moon and the stars. All right. And speaking of the signs of time, if we go to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right. And we could take this and apply it to the fact that the sun, moon, and stars, and the sun and the moon, they they speak. Just remember, day into day utter knowledge. All right. So they actually speak of the end too. The heavens, they speak as well. All right. Not like where you can hear voices, but there's a certain a tone, right? A certain type of energy that comes off. Okay. And we know the end is a time frame. The heavens speak through signs. This is how they speak, through the signs. They tell you what time it is. They tell you what age it is, what period, what's going on, what prophecy are you in. Of course, you know that based on what you see on earth as well, right? But the scriptures also prophesy about the end too. There will be signs and wonders in heaven. Okay, so they don't speak with a voice. You can hear, but through the celestial body language, right? This is a universal sign language, how they speak. Whenever people look up in the heavens, mostly throughout history and through different cultures and their traditions, and they all had their thoughts and understandings about what's going on in the heavens and maybe how it has an effect on what's going on in earth. All right. But everybody knew that there's something that's happening or going to happen, or it's pretty much when you see different wonders and signs in the heaven, scriptures say, not supposed to get dismayed like the other nations, but it's an omen, right? A lot of these things, such as the eclipses, they actually happen more often than you think. And there's a certain website, I think it's timeanddate.com. It goes all the way back to the 1900s. But if you go to the 1900s and you look through it, you'll understand, you'll see that there's, total solar eclipses and total lunar eclipses. They happen in the same year, and it's pretty much, it's a sign of something that's coming. All right. Something that's being fulfilled, whether it be prophecy or whether it be judgment. All right. Or whether it be both, because remember, judgment goes out every day. All right. So going back to Psalms 19, verse 4, it says, their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. All right, so their words, their line going throughout the earth, meaning their message. All right, it's a intergalactic, message. I don't want to say it like that, but I'm just saying, like, it's a heavenly message, right? A celestial message that's going throughout the earth, right? Their voice, not actual personified voice, like where you can hear it, but it's a figurative. All right, it's in quiet evidence. You just see it, right? You sense it. All right, so let's go to Ecclesiasticus. And I know this is long drawn out. I'm trying to, be as concise as possible. All right, this is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. You know, this is also called Sirach. 43:6. It says, He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. All right. So depending on which moon, the world in this context is a period, an age, and the course of empires and kingdoms and rulerships. All right. So the world in this context is speaking about the end, of a period or age. All right. And we can see that in Daniel. What was it, 2:21? It says, And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. All right, so the times, remember, the signs of the times are with the moon and the sun. They give you signs of the time and the seasons. All right. And as you can see, like those signs, they can also show you that there's about to be a change in rulership. There's about to be a downfall of a kingdom, okay, and then a rising or raising up of the next rulership. All right, every kingdom, empire, or dynasty has a bound, that it can only rule for a season. All right, but the kingdom of heaven really is coming, forever, and no one will rise out the dust to, there will be no season for which the kingdom of heaven will just fall. All right, but all these other kingdoms, they failed. There was a certain appointed time in which they couldn't go over, in which the Lord, he set up since the beginning, he declared, right? And these lights in the heavens, they have that effect, you know what I'm saying, on these kingdoms. Remember too, the moon, it actually has an effect on the tides, and man is made up of 75% water, I believe, a lot of water. So of course, the moon can also have an effect on the people. Okay. Let's go on to Ecclesiasticus 39:16. My son, nope, 39:16, it says, All the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season. All right, so in due season, like it was stated before, there is a time for everything, including the host of heaven, which it applies to as well. All right, they change every season based on the commandment of the Lord. Even prophecy is based on this timing. All right, so you also got prognosticators, meteorologists, or forecasters. They forecast the weather and the seasons based on the observations of the heavens. All right, so the heavens are a direct line of communication to the earth, right? They have a symbiotic relationship, and they're a direct line of communication to the earth, and they give signs of times and how to operate when it comes to the affairs of life, such as if it will be cold, or if it's going to be hot, or if it's going to be storms, or it's going to be disasters, things of that nature. That's how they're able to determine these things, these prognosticators and meteorologists, forecasters. They see in the heavens, and they see how it's going to affect what's going to happen on earth, right? On a physical level. Okay. Now let's go to 2nd Esdras. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 6:45. It says, upon the fourth day thou commandest that the sun should shine and the moon should give her light, and the stars should be in order. All right, and gavest them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. Okay, so these were the sun, moon, and stars were made to service man. You know, they have a purpose in order to, you know, keep us up with the times, all right, and the signs of the times changing. All right, and we went over that. So let's go to First Chronicles, because you know, the tribe of Issachar actually, you know, they understood the signs of the times. Okay, they had that knowledge. They were very privy to this understanding, you know, based on the spirit of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. All right, this is First Chronicles 12:32. It says, and of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. All right, so in the NLT, it says, from the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the times, the signs of the times, and knew the best course for Israel to take. All right, so as you can see, what are the signs of the times, right? The sun and the moon, they able to look up in the sky and discern, you know, weather-wise, or, you know, if they could advise Israel in the proper times for whether it be plowing, sowing, reaping. You know, they were basically the modern day almanacs. Okay. All right. So they even, you know, they knew they were up to date with the ceremonial times, the times appointed for the solemn feasts, you know, for political times. They understood public affairs, the temper of the nation, and the tendencies of the present events. So they probably can even attest that the moon, you know, have an effect on, you know, people's mentality. Okay, but they understood the signs of the times. They understood what's going on, and they were basically probably you know, dealing with the council. They had counsel, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI to actually be qualified to ascertain and make a choice of proper times for political action. Okay, and politics, you know, is just dealing with a government in which, you know, we had the law, statutes, and commandments, in which there's politics, of course, behind that as well, because it's a government. Okay, can't have a law without a government. All right, so let's go to back to Ecclesiasticus. 42 and 19. It says, he declared the things that are past and for to come, and revealeth the steps of hidden things. All right, so the Lord reveals things to us even in the heavens, because these are part of his works. All right, it says, oh, how desirable are all his works, and that a man may see even to a spark. All these things live and remain forever for all uses, and they are all obedient. So that includes the lights in the firmament, okay? And I'm going to show you some exact signs that were prophesied to happen in the heavens, you know, at a period of time. We go to Joel chapter 2, verse 30. It says, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. It says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. All right, so as you can see, it's showing you signs of the times. It says what's going to happen. Like these are going to be signs. The sun is going to be turned into darkness and the moon into blood. And it gave you a time period. It says before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. All right, blood moons and solar eclipses are signs of an ending of the ending of an era. Okay, a sign of judgment. All right, when the moon and the sun align in a solar eclipse, it is a sign of the times, a sign of prophecies coming to pass. And once a measure of prophecy has been fulfilled, guess what? The next prophecy is coming into fruition right after that. All right. Let's look at the word eclipse. All right, eclipse. The definition of eclipse is an obscuring of the light from one celestial body by the passage of another between it and the observer, or between it and its source of illumination. All right, we're going to look at the second definition. It says a loss of significance, power, or prominence in relation to another person or thing. All right, so what's going to happen is the Edomite supreme Esau, Edom, his world is about to be eclipsed. Okay, it's if you look at these synonyms, you see blotting out. Okay, obscuring. He's about to go into obscurity. All right, a fall, a decline, decay, deterioration. All right, the sign of the eclipse indicates a fall, a decay, degeneration, and decline. All right, and these are signs of the ending of a world rulership. All right. So hopefully, yeah, it makes sense, right? This is the signs speaking. All right. At the end, it shall speak. All right, and this is speaking loud and clear. Whenever you see something like this, is you see a total lunar eclipse, and then you see a total solar eclipse within the same month. You know, that's a sign. That's an indication. All right, a signal. Right, the end. Speaking of the end of a rulership, let's go to Revelations and bring out Revelation 20. In verse 3, it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Okay, so, you know, as you can see, there's a time period, you know, that he's going to be ruling. And this is talking about Satan, or AKA, I should just be more clear and plain. This is talking about Esau, Edom, right? He's ruling right now in his little season. This is his season. But eventually, you know, we know seasons change. Okay? So, from the Renaissance, right, his rebirth. And matter of fact, remember when it says in Job 14 talks about how man is born a few days. Okay? And this is talking about Esau, Edom, right, ruling for his little season. All right, so from the Renaissance until now, Esau, Edom, aka so-called Caucasians, have been ruling for his little season. All right, we're not going to forever have to use greenbacks and, you know, his monetary system with his face on it, and we're not going to always be speaking his language, which is English, which the whole world pretty much speaks. You know, we won't be influenced by this devil. All right. Now let's go ahead and look into a solar eclipse. What is a solar eclipse? A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, blocking out the sun's light partially, or which is a partial solar eclipse, or completely, which is a total solar eclipse from certain areas on the earth. All right, during a total solar eclipse, the moon covers the sun, casting a shadow on the earth and causing darkness during the day in the path of totality. Peep this. It says solar eclipses can only occur during the new moon phase, when the moon is positioned directly between the earth and the sun. All right, so two things got to happen for a solar eclipse in totality, all right, to happen. Right, for one, it's got to be the right what do you call it, the right timing, right? And the moon is going to be a new moon, which is a dark moon. All right, so the new moon, when it covers the sun, that's a solar eclipse. So usually, not usually, but a solar eclipse, if the new moon means the beginning of the month, a solar eclipse always happens in the beginning of the month. All right, so that really, if you think about it, it sets the tone for the rest of that month. All right, so let's take a look and see what a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth passes between the sun and the moon, causing Earth's shadow to fall on the Earth. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow can partially or fully cover the moon, causing it to appear reddish or copper colored due to the scattering of sunlight through the Earth's atmosphere. You know, this is Esau, you know, this is their knowledge, you know, how they understand it, or whatever. But either way, the point matter is that that's what the lunar eclipse, when it's a total full eclipse, full lunar eclipse, then you know, it's usually give it a red tint, all right, which is what people call a blood moon. All right, so red is associated with blood, and blood is usually associated with sacrifice. All right, red is also associated with war and judgment. In the Bible, the color red is often associated with sin, blood, and sacrifice and vengeance. Okay, and peep this. Lunar eclipses can only occur during the full moon phase, when the earth is positioned directly between the sun and the moon. All right, so as you can see, a solar eclipse happens at the beginning of the month. A lunar eclipse happens in the middle of the month, all right, due to the moon cycle. Okay, so whenever you see a blood moon, it's because you're seeing a lunar eclipse. Whenever you see, of course, a new moon at the beginning of the month and it covers the sun, that is a solar eclipse. All right. I'm gonna read a couple more verses. Let's go to Acts 2:20. All right, so this is an example. These are gonna be some examples mentioning these celestial events, you know, or you know, I should say the eclipses, which are signs or omens. This is Acts 2, verse 20. It says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before that great and notable day of the Lord come. All right. Now, this is a lunar and solar eclipse. Okay. Remember, the moon only can, you know, it's speaking the way the Bible speaks is very poetically. All right. When it says the moon into blood, it's literally just talking about a lunar eclipse. Okay. A lunar eclipse. All right, let's go to Luke. Let's bring out Luke real quick. 21 and verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun. This is talking about the, the day of the Lord. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity the sea and the waves roaring. All right, so if you notice, if you pay attention, you'll see that the sun, the moon, and the stars, it is directly having an effect on the whole earth, okay? Causing a distress of the nations, or with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. All right, so as you can see, these phenomena is happening in the sky, the signs of the times, they're gonna have an effect. You're gonna see basically prophecy is being fulfilled when these things come to pass. All right, when you see those signs, the prophecy is happening. When you see the distress of the nations, and it's through those signs of the times. I know I'm sounding redundant, but basically, it has a direct effect. Those signs of the times have a direct effect on the earth and its inhabitants. Okay, so we see the moon. We know the moon controls the tides. The sea and waves roaring also represent uproars of the people. Okay, during these times, it is a turn of the tide, which indicates changing and shifts, like a shift. All right. All right. The moon has a direct effect on the people during these times, especially when it's full. How much more blood moons? People are going to be turning lunatic. Okay. And that's where lunatic actually comes from, lunar, from the moon. All right. So another indication or sign that the moon and the stars and the sun, they have a effect on the earth and their inhabitants. Going down to verse 28, it says, and when these things begin to come to pass, all right, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. All right. So I'm gonna end it off right there. I might make another video. Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, Shalom.